Thank you. Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you and give you a warm welcome for being here today. And today's discussion will focus on this particular topic. We will identify 7 principles for growing high-performing product teams. And why is this important? Well, those of you who work in product organizations know that more than 50% of new products usually fail within 3 years of introduction. And in this discussion, we will focus at identifying the root cause for those failures, as well as identifying the key ingredients, 7 principles for growing high-performing product teams that can then figure out within the organization how to achieve much better product outcomes. And as we get started, first of all, I want to give a special thanks to the great IT professional and CAI for putting together this great platform that gives you unlimited PDUs and great continuing education for those of you who are IT professionals, as well as project management and program managers. And also a shout out to Broadcast Village, because I am recording this particular session and we will be converting this to a podcast, and we will be sharing this with everyone who attended and registered to attend this particular session. Also, if you're on Twitter, I'd like to encourage you to actually share any content, any knowledge that you want to share with your followers using these particular hashtags, and also follow myself as well as the Great IT Pro 1. That is the handle for the Great IT Professional. And that way we will be sharing and retweeting whatever it is. And also I will just share the hashtags and also the handles on chat, so you can just cut and paste, and that'll be easier for you to include any information, any comments regarding today's discussion and anything that we share during today's live session. Also, if you want to participate and win, you can actually check in using any of the 2 links at the bottom of this slide. And if you check in, there'll be some additional free resources. I actually shared the check-in link. I will be sharing that right now via the chat window so that you can actually also check in. And the other alternative is you can actually follow the second link that was just sent out, and that's a way for you to connect directly to me via LinkedIn, and I will then send you a link where you can view today's slides, and then also we'll be posting the video and the podcast later, making it available to everyone who is following my talks. I also want to point out that there will be a Q&A portion at the end of this discussion, so we'll have a few minutes of discussion, but we'll be having some questions, so be sure to use the chat window to type in your questions, and a moderator will be asking the questions during the Q&A portion of today's discussion. So today's discussion will focus on understanding, why do so many new products fail? I mentioned earlier that multiple studies over time, the last few years, have shown that regardless of the industry or market or the products, more than 50% of new products fail within 3 years of introduction. And obviously, this is not a very repeatable process, especially when products and the revenue from products is the lifeblood, cash flow, as well as profitability for many of these companies. So often, I get involved in working with executives and leaders within organizations, trying to figure out how to achieve much better product outcomes that can then increase the sales revenue and also increase the profitability for the company. What we'll be discussing today is understanding, number 1, why do most products fail? And then number 2, the critical importance of product management within product-centric organizations. And also then building the 7 principles for building high-performing product teams. And share with you some key takeaways, and then we'll jump into Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started. So why do most products fail? Well, if you look at, before we get actually into discussions, I'm going to ask this question, and a poll will be presented to you. And the question is, why do most new products fail? From your perspective and your experience, why do you think it is that most products fail? And select one of these available options. First option is your value proposition is unclear. Second option, prospects don't know who you are. Third is you don't understand buyer behavior, or organization doesn't understand fully buyer behavior. Your offering lacks consistency, or is it that you have inconsistent customer experience? And I believe the poll will be presented to you, and we'll give you a few seconds to share your answer. And for those of you who already have an answer, if you can actually share via chat your answer, that would be great. I see at least one of you saying all of the above, and I understand. I would say if you can pick and prioritize the number one issue that you believe is causing most product failures within your organization, figure out which one of these 5 is the culprit, the main culprit for product failure within your organization today. And I see that a few of you are still responding. And so before we actually share the results, we'll give you a few more seconds to respond. And I'm going to be sharing what I'm seeing on the chat. Some of you are saying prospects don't know who you are. Some of you are saying not understanding buyer behavior. Others are saying that your offering lacks consistency, and yet others are saying that the lack of process and the value proposition being unclear. So it looks like it's actually going to be a good mix across all 5. That's what I'm seeing in the responses, and a lot of emphasis on option C, which is you don't fully understand buyer behavior and the way that it's changing. How are we doing on the responses? So before we proceed, I believe that the actual responses will be actually shown to you, and we'll give you a couple of more seconds to respond, and then we'll close the poll and see if we can share the results with you. Okay, why don't we go ahead and display the results? So if you guys are seeing the results, what I'd like to share is that usually, if you look at the literature, and we actually will look at the next point, when you look at across any study that is out there, achieving a steady flow of successful products is really a huge challenge for most organizations. And in today's world, the Amazon effect, what I would call the Amazon effect, where most people are now used to getting what they want finding what they want online, and then buying it online and getting it immediately the same day, or if not the next day, that really has changed a lot of buyer behavior across product categories. And it's really causing a lot of major issues, because even in industries like insurance, we are all now looking for a different way of finding the right product for us. And we expect that product to be easily customized for the way we use it, and priced the way that we want to be priced before we actually buy. And we want this now. We don't want to be waiting for our product. We want to be able to access it as soon as we buy it. And that is changing buyer behavior. And usually, if you are in environments where typically that hasn't been the customer experience or the buying behavior, you're looking at really a lot of changes of buyer behavior, even if it's not traditional within your market or your industry. And any of these reasons end up being reasons why most products fail within the first 3 years of introduction. It could be that your value proposition is unclear to your targets. Your prospects don't know who you are because you're a brand new company and lack the brand awareness or the brand equity that other companies have. Maybe your offering lacks consistency, and sometimes that is a major issue. And maybe the offering is not really as complete as you think it is. And also, it may be that your customer experience lacks consistency. Any of these 5 reasons are the reasons why most new products fail within first 3 years of introduction. So if you answer all of the above, it's probably that you may